Just going to do a quick video here on how I'm changing the hose on a vacuum cleaner here. This is a Shark Navigator, and I had a problem with the hose deteriorating, and it was cracking and peeling, and it basically tore open. So rather than buy a new vacuum, I've been trying to replace the hose, but it's been a little bit tricky. So I'm going to show you what I've figured out, and I think it's going to work. So this part of the hose here, I've just replaced. You can see this. See this. Just unclicks with these buttons here, and the old one I had to remove. It was all dried out. This is a new one I put on now. This is what the old one looks like, and I'm going to be changing it too. And it cracks and peels when it gets old and dry. So what this is just a hose that I bought from my local vacuum guy. I picked this up. See, it's just a piece of hose, but it's a 1/4 inch and it's flexible, so it does stretch. It's a very good hose. So what it does is just has to twist into the opening. So you twist it one way or the other. If you look inside there, you can see there's threads, and you just have to line up the hose and thread it on like a screw. And it's a little bit tricky, and you got to do the same at that end. So you have to find the end. It's cut, line it up with the way it goes in. And it's a little bit tricky, but once you get it a couple times, you can get it to screw on. Now, depending on the hose you get, you might not be able to get it to go up the whole way, but I'm sure it'll be fine because it flexes like it was supposed to. So this one is done. Basically what I've done here is did the same thing at that end and measured the length, of course, and then just clicks it. Actually, this color actually matches nice, but I don't really care about the color. I have another one that I got here that's black, but it's the same type of hose that can stretch, and I'm going to do that for the top part, which I'll show you here now. This was the tricky part. That was easy. Really, that was the easy part. Taking it off, the old part of it is sometimes you need some tools. Basically what I have here are cutters, a knife, and a couple screwdrivers. So this part of the hose was the tricky thing. I'll rearrange this here again so you can see what I'm doing. So this part of the hose I've already removed. Again, it's the same kind of thing. It's threaded on. That was easy. This thing here, this part of the end, this here, is up here in this end. That was easy. Took that off. It just moves. So that'll go back on. That'll go back on. The rest of it was a little trickier. I got a little frustrated. I've actually made it work, but you have to remove the screws first, and then I took a couple of screwdrivers and kind of work your way opening it. Like that. I like to use a couple because I might have to hold it like that. Hold this side. I already took this part off. But what I realized quite quickly was that this part isn't separate. So as you can see, I did quite a bit of messing around with it. I've damaged the plastic a bit here, but I didn't really care about that. I'll just touch it up with sandpaper, and I only broke one part so far, which I think I can fix. So, but in the process of learning this, I realized that this part has to come off, but it's very tight. So I don't know if they used a little bit of glue in there, and I have to pop it off like this. And I'll be right. Okay, sorry for the interruption. So this part has to slide off, and I didn't know how this was working because it was very difficult. But what we do is I actually have to really pry at this with a screwdriver, and I actually eventually got it to pop off. So I got in a screwdriver this way. In fact, I think I ended up using a wider tool like this bar, got it on the side like that, and basically popped this off. In fact, it was probably this side that I got off. Popped this side off, and as you can see now, it's sliding off. This, I didn't know how that worked, so it took me a long time, and that's how I ended up damaging it. But you know how to pop it off now. So then, same with this one. It was a little stiff again. You kind of got to wiggle it gently so that you don't break things. Then, once it's off, this will separate again. It's a little stiff, but you got to use your, and then off it comes like this. And now when you replace this part of the hose, remember that this wire is here for a reason. From what I understand, it's got something to do with static electricity. So you're going to want to reconnect the wire, this copper wire, the way they have it, to the existing hose. There's a wire in there, and it should be, they've soldered it on. That's probably the best way to do it again, is to solder it on. I believe it's important for static reasons, and you don't want fires. So the rest I'm not going to show you, but basically it all goes back together the same way. This was the tricky part, getting this part together, and the only part that I ended up breaking in the process was the little knob, a little red release button thing. This one broke. I've crazy glued it, and I hope it works. I don't know if it will, but I'll glue it back on with epoxy if I have to. So I hope this helps. I know I had a hard time figuring this out, so hope that'll help you. Thank you.